Alright, so I've been playing with this for almost a year now. I really wanted to give it some time going through some rounds before I came to a conclusion on it. So this is my short review on the Toxicant MCX Spear LT line. Alright, so what do we think about it? Well, I think there are a couple things. First, the Toxicant, it is nice. The fitment, the finish, it all feels very nice. At least on mine, there's been no wobble in the actual receiver. So, I know that's something that people have had issues with QC-wise. However, I will say, aesthetics aside, there definitely are several parts that you need to know before buying this, especially with the new Salvo Precisions version, which seems to address some of the issues. So, the first part, of course, that nobody likes is the price of this. This gun goes for about $800. That doesn't include a barrel and some of the other stuff that you got to put into it as well. And for an $800 gun, at least in my opinion, everything should be steel. You'll notice on here, my bolt release, it has some wear on it. That's because it is the only thing that is not steel. All the other parts I replaced with Toxicant aftermarket steel parts. But that's part of the problem. A gun like this for this cost, it should come with full steel, fire control components to begin with. So definitely this stuff not being steel, that's a big negative in my mind. And the same thing translates over to the actual trigger box itself. If you'll notice, the Toxicant trigger box right here, most of the components are steel. However, not all of them. And even in the upgraded trigger back, which I have in this, not everything's steel. And the aftermarket trigger box is like $200. So why is everything not steel? I get people are going to say, oh, well, it's not necessary, blah, blah, blah. It's fucking $200. It should be steel. And that includes contact places like this transfer bar, which works for the sears to work. And it does make contact, like right on this round point right here. This is the one that I don't use. I swapped it out immediately, but there's already wear on it just from the few rounds that I cycled through the stock box. So it should all be steel. I don't know why it's not. And then we get to the absolute biggest problem with these that I think makes the Salvo Precisions possibly the better decision. And that's the actual Z plate design. If you'll notice, I've got a Toxicant one right here, and then I've got a stock Marui one right here. And if you notice, the stock Marui one, it has the complete Z or Z design for this system. And the way that is supposed to work is that when the bolt catches, that moves forward ever so slightly, hits this, which compresses the spring, overall just absorbing the shock a lot better. And if you notice the profile, it's kind of hooked so that it kind of catches. Now we look at the Toxicant one. You see there's no spring loading in the Z plate. Nothing to stop it. It's just a solid slap of steel on steel stopping it. And if you notice the profile of the Z plate, it's almost 90 degrees, and it probably raises up to about right here. So that's a big issue. This wears incredibly fast. It's steel on steel, but since there's no give in it, and because there's no profile here that really catches the bolt, this causes the Z plate to wear incredibly fast. This is again the stock one, and it kind of started failing, I think, after 200 or 300 rounds. So the Z plate is a huge, huge downfall in this gun, I would say. In order to make it work, one, I'd like some better quality pieces, maybe a titanium plate if someone could make one, or just an overall better design. Incorporate the spring feature back into this, redesign your trigger box, that would be the best solution. But what I did for this one, you'll notice my Z plate, I actually kind of carved a hook into it. So that way I literally just took a file and a Dremel, hooked it, so that way it actually catches the plate a lot better. But even here you can see it's starting to kind of wear flat a little bit on that edge. And that's just because it's just slammed steel into steel, there's no buffer to it, and that really kind of defeats the purpose of the Z system. The Z system is supposed to have some spring behind it, which mitigates the impact and makes the materials last longer. If you're just going to have, a solid piece of steel that catches on it, why not just do a traditional bolt catch then? So that's the biggest issue with the gun. Otherwise, I will say, It's incredibly snappy, and especially the Toxicant trigger box, it makes it for a super light hair trigger you can do. You know, it's very, very snappy. Go ahead and throw the mag in. Yeah, so very snappy. I think I probably ran out of gas here a little bit, so that's why I was being a bit sluggish. But that's my quick review of the Toxicant series. I love the gun. I've got some gameplay with it that I'm going to be posting to show how awesome it is. But definitely for the price, I would go with the Salvo Precision. Unless Toxicant redesigns this trigger box system to incorporate the spring loading feature, probably redesigns the profile of the Z plate. And yeah, so it definitely just needs some work. But overall, cool gun. Let me know what you think.